Most people don't try because they're afraid they're going to fail. Another category of people don't try because they do not want other people seeing them try something and not doing well. But there's another category of people who are afraid to try because it just might work out. I used to be one of these people. And what I found was that there were three main obstacles that held me in that place. The first was the weight of the responsibility I knew I would have to handle if things didn't work out. The second was the person I knew I had to become to handle whatever it is that I was working on. And the third thing is the amount of change involved. And you all know change can be uncomfortable. I want to walk you through these three obstacles and how to overcome them. Let's get into it. The number one reason why a lot of people are afraid to try because they think it might work out, the number one thing here is the weight of responsibility involved. Opportunities come left to right, opportunities come throughout your entire lifetime. These opportunities are not ranked equally in the sense that the level of responsibility that comes with each opportunity is very different. Growing up, I used to want to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And I was even talking to a friend about this a couple of weeks ago, how like we were just looking at the life of Elon Musk, and he's this great inventor, super wealthy guy. But I was thinking about it, and I said to my friend, I wouldn't want his life because it's not the kind of life I actually want. It's not the kind of life that the level of responsibility involved to be a trillionaire, to handle all those companies is not something that I want, right? And for you, maybe that's an overstatement of an example. But for you, maybe one of the reasons why you're scared is because you know that the responsibility that it's going to demand of you and the weight of that is a little bit scary for you. And that's okay. It's okay to admit that that's where we are. And which kind of brings me to this point that I want to make, where if this is the thing that is holding you back, if the weight of responsibility is what is actually scaring you, best things you can do for yourself is to sit down and count the cost of responsibility, in the sense that evaluate the weight of the responsibility. If that thing works out, what is it going to demand of you? What weight of responsibility is it going to place on your life? It's better that you are aware, and it's better that you identify that early on in the process than it eventually working out and then you burn out because of that. So identify it so you're not blindsided by it. And the good thing about responsibility is you can say yes, you can say no, and you can also work your way towards greater levels of responsibility. But you also have to know what the cutoff point is. You also have to know what's for you and what's not for you. So for some of us, we don't want to be trillionaires because the level of responsibility involved is not necessarily something that we want to deal with. But for somebody out there, that's their goal, and that's fine. You just have to know what's for you and what you can do and what you can stick with. The second point here is the fact that the person we have to become can be scary. And not in in a bad way, in the sense that you become this scary person. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you see the version of you today, your current version, and the version that is going to be required of you to become, to be able to handle that thing when it works out, that scares you. And it's not because you think it's unattainable. The issue is it's the gap in between. And the thing is, if you don't find a way to fill that gap and to get yourself from this current version to that desired version, you will never work on the things that you said you're going to work on. You will never do those things, right? Growing up, I had friends. Of course, this was in high school. I had, maybe not even high school, elementary school. I had friends who wanted to become doctors. And, like our teachers would ask around class. This was elementary school, yes. Our teachers would ask around class, oh, what do you want to be in the future? And for me, I wanted to be a pilot. Long story short, we could talk about that another day. Some people wanted to be engineers. Some people wanted to be teachers. Some people wanted to be in the army. And I had a group of friends who wanted to be doctors. And there was probably about 3 or 4 of them. Crazy how now only one is a doctor, because I can tell you exactly what happened. They discovered the amount of work that it took to become a doctor, and they said, this is not for me. They said, you know what? How many years of school does it take for me to go from I have no idea what I'm doing in medicine to now I'm a full-fledged doctor who has his own practice and stuff. Once they realize that, you know what, the investment is too much in terms of the years and the effort, they said, you know what, this is not for me. And that's okay. But what I'm saying is, if you don't identify that gap and fill that gap by improving yourself, you will never become the version of you that's meant to handle those things. So yes, you're worried that, you know, the person you have to become is not your current state. The the great thing is you can develop yourself. You can improve yourself. I am huge on self development because it's worked for me. There was a time in my life where I could barely hold conversations with people, and here I am talking to you. It's not because like I did some magic. No, I had to intentionally develop myself in different aspects. One thing that you can do to ensure that the current version of you eventually gets to that desired future state version of you that is going to handle those things when they work out is to develop yourself. Read, study, improve. Like just find ways to develop yourself. And I'm going to give you a hack here. Don't take self development as this broad stroke kind of, I'm just going to read random books. Be intentional about it. If you know that, you know, the current state version of you is not really good at communication, and you know that there is going to be a demand on you in the future when something that you're working on eventually takes off to be a better communicator. Now is the time to start to invest in books on communication. Watch YouTube videos. Like YouTube has so much information for free that you can use to improve yourself and develop yourself. So instead of us being afraid that, you know what, the future version of me, that future desired version of me is unattainable, just put yourself on a plan of self development and progressively get yourself there. Self development is the only way you get to close the gap between the current version of you and that future desired state. Another reason why people are afraid things might work out is because of the level of change involved. Nobody likes change. Change can be difficult. It's unfamiliar. It's uncomfortable. You have to expose yourself and you have to be vulnerable. You have to learn and relearn. Change, change, change. Nobody likes it. But guess what? It's part of life. Even if you decide not to change, the world around you is changing. Your family is changing. People are changing. People are evolving. Systems are evolving. Industries are changing. The world is changing. You can't afford to be the person that stays stuck. So if that fear of change is what is holding you down, I want to encourage you to incrementally expose yourself to change. About what does that mean? That means intentionally allowing change in different aspects of your life. Before you go take on a decision and make a decision that involves you uh, making some huge change that you know you won't get through because you know what, you're already afraid of it anyways. How about we just increase our exposure to change? You know, little doses here and there, essentially, is how I would put it. And what does that look like practically? That looks like changing your approach on some of the way you currently do things. That looks like changing the way you see things. That looks like intentionally changing how you've done some things. For instance, it might be a recipe that you cook and it's something that you've always done a certain way. It might be you deciding, you know what if I add this today? What is that going to be? What is that going to taste like? I'm just saying increase your exposure to change. Try something else because this adaptability and flexibility, it's a muscle and you can train it. And the way you train muscles is with repetition. You have to get yourself comfortable with the idea of change and with the notion that change is good. But you can't do that when it comes to big decisions. Start small. Start with the little things. You know what? Change your route to the office. You usually go a certain way every decide, you know what, this on my way back home this week, I'm gonna go this different route. Let me see what they're doing over there. You know what I'm saying? The gist of what I'm saying is this: expose yourself to change, incremental change, in small doses as much as you can. So that when the big decisions come down to it, you're ready. And you've exercised that muscle, and the muscle of adaptability and flexibility has grown so much that you can now say, you know what, I'm ready for big changes. Thinking about this now, one of the many reasons why I looking back now, as a bit of self reflection, one of the very reasons that I realized that held me back from fully expressing who I am and who I was, as God has designed me and created me, was because of this very thing that I'm talking about, change. I was so afraid that if I came out of my shell and if I came out of the box, quote unquote, that I was in, um, that change would rub people, would cause people to be rubbed off the wrong way, in the sense that I just knew that I had been shrinking my dreams, my desires, my personality, just so that people didn't get offended. And you know what happened? Eventually, when I decided, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to do it how I want to do it. I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to say what's on my heart. I'm going to say how I feel, respectfully and with wisdom, of course. It happened exactly as I had predicted it. People and their real perception of me came out. And of course, I lost relationships. I lost friends, decade-long friendships. And it was a painful time. But guess what? On the other side of that was me getting further along in my discovery of purpose. What am I here for? What am I doing? Getting further along in discovering new aspects of me, and new opportunities opened up and new doors opened up and new relationships and new friendships. All I'm saying is this: if people cannot handle who you currently are as God has intended, with your quirks and with your big ideas and big personality, whatever it is, the things that make you you, if they cannot handle that, it's time for change. Don't shrink your dreams and your personality into whatever version just to make people feel comfortable. We're not doing that here. It's a disservice to the God who made you, and it's a disservice to you and to humanity for you to try to be somebody else to make other people feel comfortable. That's not what we're doing here. So I'm just gonna say, I say all of that to say this: change is good. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It's a part of life for a reason. And you know what? I hope that as I've walked you through these three things, you can kind of see that, you know what? These obstacles are simply obstacles. You can overcome them and you will overcome them. You no longer have to be afraid of trying because you're scared that, you know what, if it works out, the responsibility involved might be too much. The person that I have to become, like that is too much. Or you know what, the change involved, like it's too much for me. No longer, those are no longer obstacles for us. You can do this. I believe in you. I'd love to hear from you. What is that one thing that you were afraid would work out if you actually tried it? Uh, Let me know in the comments. Until next time, God bless.